1, 2, 3. Welcome back to my channel. If you are wanting to listen to my story on my experience of the doula, then stay tuned. So, where do I start? FYI, I had just recorded this whole thing and saw that I didn't hit the record button. So, if you saw my last video of my labor story, I made a little reference of the doula. So, I want to start by saying everyone's experience with the doula is different from person to person, and each doula is different. So I'm not shaming on doulas, I'm just giving you my experience with the doula. Mind you, my friend referred me to this doula, had a wonderful experience, and they're the ones who educated me on what a doula was and informed me of this doula. So I was like, yeah, this is great. So if you are watching this far, you're probably wondering, what is a doula? So a doula is somebody who is an advocate for you, similar to a midwife, but she does not deliver the baby. So she will be there by my side, supporting me, helping me push, helping me get through any questions or concerns I have that the doctors are trying to talk to me about and I don't understand. She would be there to calm me down, help me with the breathing, all that stuff. So the reason why I wanted a doula is because a couple of reasons. So one, this is my first child. Reason was because I have high anxiety. So with that, I didn't want to get overwhelmed with me birthing a child and freaking out. I didn't want to have a panic attack because I've had those and they're horrible. And I didn't want any of that. I wanted to be as calm as possible. I wanted to have this baby naturally and just I wanted it to be a good experience. I didn't want to go into a hospital room freaked out the whole time. So for me to have one person to focus on in the room that can calm me down and knows my background and be an advocate for me without the distraction of everything else that's going on, that's what I wanted. And that's why I got a doula. So to me, I thought, oh yeah, this will be totally worth the money. There won't be any trouble. Like, it will put my mind at ease. Everything will be great. Plus, if my husband is like, I don't know what to do, the doula will be like, hey, go do this, go do that. And then he'll be like, okay, I'll just do whatever I'm told. So I felt like the doula would be great for him as well. We're like, okay, so we emailed back and forth with some information, and at that point she's like, message me after your doctor's appointment just so I can be in the loop of how things are going, and we'll just go from there. I'm like, okay, sounds great. Everything's good. So then I had some doctor's appointments. I messaged her and let her know. Where I live, I have horrible cell service, so I was emailing her instead of calling or texting. So emailing her about my doctor's appointments, and she just responded like with one sentences, like, thanks for the update, thumbs up, good info and whatnot. No warm fuzzy feeling of, oh, this is great, congratulations on this, you've gotten this far, what's the gender, anything like that. Nothing. So at this moment I'm like, there's no warm fuzzy feelings I'm getting from these emails, but maybe she's too busy and she just doesn't like to email. Okay, no problem, whatever. So then we get to our third trimester. Third trimester we have another meetup. So we meet up, and at this point she asked me to go do homework and go do a birth plan and just like do a draft, and then we would, at this meetup, we would meet up and talk about the birth plan and go over every little thing and what she suggests and what she's seen. Now, mind you, she's a doula, so she can't tell me what to do. She can only inform me of what's out there. She can't say, I suggest you to do this, I suggest you do that, nothing like that. Like, she can just present the stuff and I have to make the decision, if that makes sense. So the doula is not a doctor or a midwife, so she can't make any doctor decisions. So I went home before this meeting and did a birth plan. If you look up birth plans, you will be overwhelmed because some birth plans are like a mile long. And I know me, I don't like to read a whole bunch of stuff when, especially something big like this is going on. I want simple, straight to the point, like bullet points. I don't want any hoopla. And online, there's a lot of hoopla birth plans out there. And I don't think any doctor or nurse wants to read that either. So we went and talked to our doula, and she loved the birth plan. She's like, oh, this is straight to the point. This is great. You know, she suggested some things that she's seen on birth plans and maybe things to add, or, you know, don't confuse the doctors or nurses with this and kind of thing. So I was like, oh, that was great. That's useful. So I went home and edited the birth plan and did that and made a couple copies so everybody in my room would have a copy of what's going on. Great, this sounds good. I had questions like, what should we do when we go into labor? When should we call you? When should we message you? Are you going to come to my house? Are we going to just meet at the hospital? And she made us feel like, oh yeah, just message me, call me, or she didn't like to call. So she's like, text me or email me and let me know how things are going. And then I will come out to your house and get you prepped before you go to the hospital so you don't, you know, go to the hospital and be sent home. I'm like, okay, sounds great. So she's going to be great.
A few moments later.
I noticed that my contractions were 5 minutes or less for an hour, from 2 in the morning to 3 in the morning. And so I took a snapshot and sent it to her and asked her for advice of, should I go to the hospital? What do you suggest? And she didn't message me. And I'm like, what the heck? And at this moment, I'm like just going through contractions every few minutes, and I'm like, this is painful because you start your timer at the top of the contraction and end the timer at the bottom, and in the whole middle, you're going through some pain. So I didn't have a lot of time to think. So then I went and woke up my husband, and I was like, we need to go to the hospital. I tried to message our doula, and she's not responding, and I'm just making the decision. And he's like, no, you're fine. Like, let's wait it out. I'll message her. And I'm like, okay, but I think we should definitely go. He messages her, and she wanted some more detail, and she just wasn't sold on the idea of us going to the hospital. She also didn't suggest that she was going to come to our house, so I don't know what the heck. And I'm like, no, we're going to the hospital. Like, we can take our time, but we're going to the hospital. I just want to get checked because I've been in pain all night. So we go to the hospital, go to the triage, and get checked, and then I get dilated. They checked me, and I was dilated to a 2. And so my husband messaged the doula, because obviously she doesn't message me for whatever reason. I can email her, she'll give me one-word answers, and my husband text messages her, and whatever. I don't know. Anyways, so he messages her and lets her know that I'm dilated to a 2, and what does she suggest? She's like, you guys should just go home and take a bath and relax. It doesn't sound like you guys are going to be in labor or anything. And then the doctor was like, well, you can either go home and come back, or, meaning go home and if it gets worse, come back. Or do a couple laps around here, and then I'll check you again. And I'm like, we're already here. Let's get checked. You know, let's go take a walk and then come back. So we did that. Came back half hour later, and then she checked me, and I was dilated to a 5. And within like 30, 40 minutes. And I'm like, what? And they're like, yeah, congratulations, you're having a baby. Do you want your epidural? I'm like, I'm in pain, so yeah. So then my husband messages the doula and was like, well, looks like we're dilated to a 5, we're having a baby today. And it's like, yeah, so obviously you were wrong. I'm glad I didn't listen to you. Anyway, so he messages the doula and she says, I'm busy at the moment, but I can have my backup doula come to your hospital and meet you guys there. I'm like, what? Are you kidding me? We were messaging you all morning since 3 in the morning. You couldn't have told us then that you were busy. Like, obviously you were busy because you didn't even want to come to my house and help me. Or message me for that matter. So I'm like, okay, backup doula, awesome. Somebody I've never met before. Even better. So then around right after I got my epidural, the backup doula comes in. And I've never met her. She comes in, she looks a little young, and I'm like, okay. She comes in, she starts talking like, I'm the doula, Tiffany. Your doula told me all about you, and I'm going to be here for you. Okay, awesome. She just kept talking and talking and talking, and she wasn't like talking like softly, she was talking loud. And I'm like, oh my god, I'm freaking tired and I just want to take a nap before labor. So then she asks, do you want me to continue talking or do you want to rest? I looked at her, I'm like, I want to rest. I only had 45 minutes of sleep and I don't know what's going to happen, so I feel like this is my only time to sleep, so I'm going to take a nap. I was like, okay. Just got all quiet. And then I tried to take a nap. And at this moment, I had the epidural, so I could only have ice chips. So with that, my husband was feeding me ice chips, and then I was sleeping, and then I turned over and I was like, I need some ice chips. So my husband got up to grab the ice. Well, then the doula takes the ice from him and starts feeding me ice. And I look at my husband like, what? Well, she just took a big old spoonful of ice and just shoved it in my mouth. And I'm like, what the heck? And I look at my husband like, she doesn't know what she's doing. And then I told her, like, dude, not so much ice next time. And she's like, oh, okay, sorry. And then just starts feeding it to me. And then I'm like, okay, I'll let you know when I need ice. Like, stop. And my husband looks at me like, what the heck? Like, why can't I do that for you? I'm like, oh, obviously this doula wants to do something. I don't know if it's her first day or whatnot.
A few moments later.
So then laboring down, all that, doula's there. So now Maverick's here. So I'm holding Maverick. And the doula's like, don't squeeze the baby. I'm like, I'm not squeezing the baby. Because at this time they're dealing with my placenta. This moment, the doula's helping me trying to get Maverick latched on. Well, she's just like constantly like just manhandling my boob. And I'm like, what the heck? She's like, go to this side. And I'm just... Hey guys, so as I was editing, I saw that the video cut out. So I am recording for the third time the end of this doula story. Sorry about that. So, she was manhandling my breast, and I'm like, what the heck's going on here? So she is just going to town, and it was like, I'm here, Maverick's right on my chest, and she is like seriously hovering over me, and her breath smelled like coffee, and it was disgusting. And then at one point, she got onto my bed and was just like on here, and I looked at her and I was like, dude, I need space. Like, can you get off my bed? Like, I can figure this out, just guide me, but I need space. You're like in my bubble. As I was saying that, the nurse looked over and just kind of chuckled and laughed. Time went on. The doula just kind of walked around aimlessly in our room, and then at one point she said, do you want me to stick around, or would you like me to leave? What can I do? Or what do you want me to do? I can do whatever. At that point I was like, you can leave. Bye-bye now. No big deal. So then they have a weekly follow-up. The doulas do. So a week after you deliver, they will come in and just see how things are going, how your breastfeeding is going, pretty much just close the deal and make sure that you're happy. So the week goes on, and the doula contacts Mark and sets up this, the weekly closeout meetup. He scheduled it for 10 a.m. like on a Saturday. And I'm like, okay, no big deal. Saturday comes around, and 10 o'clock comes around, and we have not heard from the doula. And Mark asked me if I heard from her. I'm like, of course not. She doesn't call me or message me. And so he finally messages her, and just to see, hey, are you still coming? Where are you at? We want to give you some directions to our house. People get lost here all the time. She messages back with, oh, I have a few other appointments this morning, so I won't be able to come out to your guys' place till this afternoon. I am like, at this point, like, what the heck? She made the appointment with you. Like, how could she not know that? I am like, at this point, don't want to even talk to her. I'm like, just close it. Like, I don't need to talk to her. I already feel like I wasted a ton of money anyways. Mark, being the good guy, is just like, hey, like, let's just hear her out. Maybe, she'll understand everything. So 12 o'clock comes around, still no word from her. 12:30 comes around. I'm like, dude, can we just cancel this? I don't remember if she called us or if we called her. But she was ready to meet up with us. And at this point, I'm like, I don't want to. So Mark told her, like, we're good, we're fine. And all she said was, okay, I'm glad everything's good. No, like, oh, can I talk to Melissa, see how things are going? No email to me, nothing. Nothing. And mind you, before this appointment or meeting, I had thank you cards, gift cards, everything. Well, she didn't show up. I'm like, no, I'm keeping those things. I'm like, because I feel like I didn't even want to give her thank you cards. But I felt like, oh, that's a nice thing to do. But yeah, so I kept them. My experience with the doula was a complete fail. Fail. If I knew the team at the hospital, the nurse, the doctors, the OB, everybody that I met at the hospital was going to be on my team, I would never have hired this doula in the first place. But lesson learned. That's what I learned. Like I said, my friend who had the same exact doula had a great experience. Me, on the other hand, had a horrible experience. So that is my doula story. Sorry it was so long. If you only knew how long it took me to get this recorded. If you like my video, like my story, give me a thumbs up. If you want to follow along with anything motherhood on my channel, hit the red subscribe button on the bottom, and I will catch you in the next video, guys. See ya.